Thank you, Chairman. I want to thank all of you for your service and leadership for our country. Admiral Gortney, in the 2016 NDAA, I was able to include a bipartisan effort that was focused in asking the Secretary of Defense to carry out research, development, testing, and evaluation activities with Israel on anti-tunnel capabilities to detect, map, and neutralize Hamas and Hezbollah terrorist tunnels that, of course, are used for those tunnels to come up and commit attacks in Israel. But we also know that this is a very important issue, not only in protection of our friend and ally Israel, but also on our southern border, because we know that tunnels on our southern border can be used to smuggle drugs like heroin and fentanyl, which are devastating my state, into the United States. And they also presumably could be used by other bad actors, including terrorists. So, Admiral Gortney, has there been collaboration with Israel on terror tunnels that has benefited NORTHCOM's and the Joint Task Force North's efforts to develop technology to detect, map, and neutralize drug smuggling tunnels on our southern border?
Absolutely, ma'am. It's very, very helpful for us. You know, we don't have a monopoly on good ideas in our country, and when we can partner with our partners overseas that have a similar challenge, it's been very, very beneficial both for us and for our partners in the Customs and Border Patrol.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it, and I look forward to continuing to focus on those efforts. How much of this is an issue as we look at in New Hampshire, we had a record number of drug overdose deaths this year from heroin and fentanyl, 420. It's been devastating. In fact, right now on the Senate floor, we have the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act, which is focused on, obviously, on the prevention, the treatment, and support for our first responders so that they can help bring people back from drug overdoses. But thinking about the interdiction piece, what's happening over our southern border on this issue? And this is something I've raised also with Secretary Johnson. Can you give us an update on your interdiction efforts?
Yes, ma'am. Our interdiction efforts, we work both sides of our middle border. And north of our border, we do the Department of Defense support with our mission partners through JTF North. You know, just last year was a $10.7 million program that we were given for JTF North, and they assisted in taking $436 million of drugs off the street with our mission partners. We used the services in order to do that. In a 30-day period, over one stretch of territory that Customs and Border Patrol was asking us to take a look at, they were able to interdict 1 pound of marijuana and only one trafficker. We put United States Marine Corps ground sensor platoon who are in their training in order to deploy, and in another 30-day period over that same terrain, they were able to pull up 1,200 pounds of marijuana and 75 traffickers. So being able to assist with them is absolutely critical for that.
What are you seeing on heroin and fentanyl?
Heroin and fentanyl are coming through our normal passages, the legal entry control points across our border. Heroin predominantly through the San Diego passage, San Diego passage. Very, very small shipments, which is very, very difficult for our partners to be able to detect with the technology that they have today.
What more could we do to assist you to give you some more technological tools or personnel to try to address this? Because what's happening in New Hampshire and across the country is the price of heroin and fentanyl, of course, have gone down dramatically, and you got people...
$10 a pop in any...
Yeah, and so they're going from prescription drugs, unfortunately, to heroin, and people are dying.
That's correct. Everywhere, ma'am. We have to tackle this from both sides of the problem. Where our mission partners, what do our mission partners need in the capabilities to detect? Improvements with all of our whole government approach with Mexico and Central and South America, and I'm responsible for the Mexican piece of the mill-to-mill piece. And then we have to work on the demand signal. And, sir, I want to, Senator Donnelly, with your anti-opioid bill that goes to the floor today, absolutely critical. You know, we look at this, the three of us look at this through not only military officers that are tasked to defend the nation and what we can do in order to do that, but we look at it as fathers and grandfathers as well. We have to go after the demand signal while we work the interdiction piece.
Let me just thank Senator Donnelly, because this is something that he's been a great leader on, that we've worked together, and appreciate his efforts on this and focus on it, and others on this panel who have been working on it. I also wanted to ask Admiral Gortney, in your prepared statement, you said that You assess that Iran may be able to deploy an operational ICBM by 2020 if the regime chooses to. Well, we know in the last several days, first of all, we had a ballistic missile test in October, one in November, and in the last 2 days, we've had several ballistic missile tests from Iran. So can you give us a detail on that assessment? Obviously, they're testing this capacity, where they stand on this development.
Yeah, none of their tests violate any of the agreements that are out there, but I think it's indicative of where their minds are. I don't see a change in their behavior. If they had the capability today, I have the ability to engage it today, and we watch very closely, and we thank the committee and all of Congress for the investments to allow us to be able to outpace that particular threat. Reading their intentions, I don't see a change from the Iranians' behavior.
In other words, bad behavior.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.